Alright. Welcome back to the channel. Paul Davids just released an awesome video, improv challenge, 1 track, 10 solos, and he had some awesome contributors like Tim Pierce, Rick Beato, Chris Buck, Red Schul. The list goes on and on and on. And it's not just the usual shred battle we're used to from a guitarist on YouTube like Jared Dines. It's actually what gear did you use and how did you approach to play this solo. So it's absolutely worth watching, and we're gonna do that together.
Hey man, what's up? So I got an 8-bar chord progression in the key of C. Can you maybe record a solo for me? I would love for you to keep it mostly like an improvisation. It doesn't have to be the perfect studio take, but I would love to hear your approach on the solo. And also, what gear did you use to get that amazing tone? Thanks, man.
Ha! Great intro.
So that was the message I sent to 10 of my dear friends and YouTube guitar stars. So grab a coffee, grab a tea or a cold one even, because we're in for a treat. So I told everyone about a backing track in the key of C. But what I didn't say is that there were some spicy things going on in there. So we've got that E dominant 7th chord, and there's even an F minor in there. And I'm super excited how that translates into the notes that they will be playing. So let's jump right in. First we have the legend Tim Pierce.
Wow. Alright, I'm a quick right here a bit because that's a very interesting chord progression. Not a usual blues chord progression which we're used to solo over on every random backing track you can find online. So this could be very interesting, and Tim Pierce is a very seasoned studio guitar player, so we'll see what he does.
He can do it all. He will have the perfect pop guitar solo take.
Absolutely a pop player, yes. Although he can shred very well.
Super excited. Let's check it out.
For this, I used my 65 SG, devalued by lots of modifications, which make it a better guitar, including a really nice refret. I wanted it to sound really kind of woody. You can kind of hear it on the low notes.
Sounds
You do an MXR
warm.
micro amp into the EBO reverb, which is really a wonderful thing, into the Park 45-100, a very loud, clean platform, into a 1980s-ish vintage Marshall cabinet with 4 Celestins. There is one thing
So
I did compose
only
for this.
4 things.
The
That's
solo
not
is pretty
much.
spontaneous, but
Including, yeah.
this I wrote.
That's nice. That's nice.
That's at the 3/4 point of the solo, which to me is the peak. Sometimes when I do a solo, and this was an obvious choice for this, I peak at about the 3/4 point and then I ramp down and kind of relax. This was a perfect thing. When it goes to that minor chord, which appears once in the solo, that's kind of the peak, and it worked really well. And then I just kind of relax afterwards. But I did write this, and I did, I wanted it to rise up to a peak right there, and then just kind of relax, and the water hits the beach and just kind of flows away.
Well, let's hear it.
It was fun.
I love Paul Davids' reaction. He's totally grooving. Absolutely awesome. Whoa, that was nice. Very, very clean runs. Nice. It's so smooth.
Yeah, that ending is so juicy. It's exactly what I thought. The perfect pop song take with some really crunchy, sick descending licks in there. Awesome take. Thank you so much for joining. Also, killer guitar, killer tones. Love what you did. Awesome.
Alright, we're moving on to Chris Buck, because the video itself is about 30 minutes long. About 30 minutes long. Alright, we're moving on to Chris Buck, because the video itself is about 30 minutes long, which is really long. But there are a few common denominators, so let's check it out.
Chris is such an amazing player. Always when I see him play, I'm a little bit jealous. He always emphasizes the changes, so I'm definitely sure he will do that this time. Let's check it out.
Chris is a very sharp blues player.
Track, kept it relatively straightforward. I was using my custom Yamaha Rev Star, you can see looking over my shoulder, into the Line 6 Helix, using my Helix preset. Touch of compression, overdrive, spring reverb, and delay, so nothing too revolutionary or confusing in that respect, all of which was running directly into my MacBook. Now, in regard to the solo itself,
This is something which is a common denominator in all the players who joined in on this awesome video, awesome challenge. They all use very little gear. It's not like you see the Josh Klinghoffer dual pedal boards. Dual, yes, he has more. Check out his rig rundown. It's insane. It's just the pure basics, and the rest is tone and feel, and that's what you really need for getting a good sound. So, in my opinion, that's an overdrive, reverb, and a little bit of gain on your amp, set to your wishes, of course. And let's hear what Chris gets with those modded tones.
Back to the solo itself. I guess the temptation or natural inclination when you know you have a relatively short space of time to solo in, 8 bars in this case, is to try and fill it with as much stuff as humanly possible. But even more so given the kind of laid back vibe and feel of the track, especially the tempo being quite slow, I wanted to try and say something a little bit more interesting, maybe try and develop some themes or some melodies, some motifs, and not just fill it with a random flurry of notes. Now I actually had the backing track come through from Paul while I was driving in my car.
That's very, very important what he says there. Don't just fill it with a random flurry of notes. Make sure the notes fit the song and the notes serve the song. That's so very important. Because not everybody is Eddie Van Halen. It's important to be serving the song in every guitar solo. Just like the singer is serving the song with his words, the solo should serve the song and add feel and meaning to the song itself, and in this case the chord progression.
My car, which gave me a chance to listen to it in my stereo, blast it through maybe 5 or 10 times and see if there were any kind of immediately apparent melodies or themes or any ideas that leapt out at me, which meant that when I got home then, in theory, it was just a case of transferring those ideas from my head onto the guitar. I ended up doing 4 takes of the solo, and it was actually take 3 that I ended up keeping, which is quite bizarre for me. More often than not, it's the last take, which is the keeper. But I think when you know where you are going with the solo, and by take 3, it kind of developed its structure and its theme, it can get a little bit deliberate, and you feel like you're trying to kind of work to a brief, I guess. So take 3 for me felt like the best combination of spontaneity, but still having a sense of structure, melody, and feel. Hope that was of some use.
Well, let's hear it. Nice. Very little gain. Very clean, and I love it. Somewhere towards John Mayer, this sound. I really like it. Nice. And notice that he's not only using a pick, but also his fingers. What an amazing player.
That's incredible. That's exactly what you want to hear right on this track. I really don't know what to say. I don't know, it doesn't sound the same. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate that. So that was just so awesome to see. And if this doesn't deserve a thumbs up, I don't know what will. So just hit that thumbs up button gently. What an amazing list of folks. What an amazing guitar players. Each brilliant on their own approach and each doing their own thing. And I just love seeing that. It's apparent that there's big differences in their playing, but they all sort of also did like the same thing. They really listened to the track and they built the story from there. And that's, I think, very interesting to see.
Just like what I just said, and Paul Davids is basically saying the same thing. Serve the song, serve the chords, and see what you can find.
They all sort of also did like the same thing. They really listened to the track and they built the story from there. And that's, I think, very interesting to see. I think when I would listen to the audio only, I could pick out who is who. And I think that says a lot about the player you are. Playing guitar is not about being the fastest or being the loudest. It's about finding your thing and finding your sound, your voice. And I think that's what we saw in this video. Beautifully portrayed by these great players. I really want to thank everyone for chiming in. I'm super honored to be joined by these legends. The backing track is available on my Patreon page if you want to jam along to it. And if you want to see a next episode, feel free to give me some suggestions on who to invite next time. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. And I hope this video can give you some insights in the minds of some genius players. Before we leave, I gotta do one thing. I gotta improvise over the backing track.
Let's hear it.
Cheers. Let's do it.
absolutely awesome.
Ooh, yay!
Absolutely awesome. I know this is very
No way to clap for me?
jazzy because he's literally following the chords, but it's so nice. So nice. Thank you, Paul Davids. Paul says it so very well. Finding your voice, finding your sound, and how to approach it when writing a solo like this. It's not very improvising, but it's a great way to start, especially when the chords are really funky. So what you want to do first is find the notes you like, and it's very simple. Just find the notes of the chords. So it starts with a C, so you start with a C, just let it ring. Then it was an E if I'm correct, so E. Then it was an F, and an F minor, which in notes is still an F. Just give it some feel, give it some vibrato. And you can do that with every note on the chord progression, whether it's 8 bars or 120 bars. What you do next is very, very simple. Add to it. Just go C, and then it goes to E. So you walk to the next note, and you go like, no, that doesn't sound really right because it's a major. So instead of minor 7 and the root, you go major 7 and the root. Ah, that sounds a lot better. And if you keep on walking to the next chord and the next chord, there's a lot you can do. And that way, by just playing it over and over and over again, you'll eventually construct a solo, especially when you're writing songs yourself or playing in a challenge like this. You can make it really interesting. Just do what feels right and what sounds right to your ear. Yeah, when it's a major and a minor, of course it's wrong, but there are a lot of other options as well. Or going from the C to E. There are a lot of different options you can choose, and that's the great beauty of playing guitar. There are so many options, and nothing is really wrong. And if it is wrong, you just say you played a flat 13th, because nobody's going to check that out. Well, Anyway, thanks for watching. The link to Paul Davids' awesome video is in the description down below. Like, share and subscribe, and also give a follow to all the other great YouTube musicians around, like Tim Pierce, Samurai Guitarist, especially Chris Buck, because I'm a big fan of his, and also Paul Davids, of course. Just share and subscribe, not only this video, but his video as well, and subscribe to his channel as well. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.